up, everybody? This is Franco here from PlayerEssence.com and PE Reviews, and today I'm going to be talking about my favorite new franchise of last generation, and it has to be the Mass Effect series. The Mass Effect, to me, it really started the next generation. I remember when I first got Mass Effect on the Xbox 360, or even when I first got my Xbox 360, I wasn't really sold on the next generation of gaming yet. Yes, it looked pretty. Yeah, there were games that looked good, but I mean, I think I had NCAA 07, and then I played Gears of War, in 2006, and I was like, you know what, this is really cool. I mean, like, there's nothing wrong with these games, but it wasn't till Mass Effect 1. It wasn't until this game to where I really realized the potential of the Xbox 360 and the potential of, the seventh generation. And really, what made Mass Effect 1 so good was just the expansiveness. I really never played a game that looked that good and had that open of a world, and the battle system, while a little rough around the edges, was still very unique and innovative in my opinion. A really good cover system. You had all sorts of different types of weapons to pick from. You basically had your own avatar that you can use, or of course you can use the standard Shepherd, and it was just really cool. It was really one of those games where I've never really played anything like it, because remember, I didn't play KOTOR, which the game is kind of like it. I think I played a little bit, but I didn't really play that, and I wasn't really into KOTOR as much. I think Mass Effect, with more like the shooting RPG elements, is more up my alley, and Mass Effect 1 really opened my eyes to how great the franchise and the series could be, and I didn't really fully realize that until the second game in the series, because although this game is awesome, this game is fantastic, there's a lot of flaws, especially technical flaws in the game, and problems. The DLC wasn't that great that they added on to the game, and just like the bugs and issues. But overall, the game is so good, and the story is probably one of the best stories I've ever experienced in a game, hands down. So Mass Effect 1, fantastic, great game, but really where the franchise really made it to where it was just, this is the epitome of, I think, shooter RPG, was this game right here. And that is Mass Effect 2. Mass Effect 2 signifies everything that's good in gaming. As some of you guys know, I picked this game as my top game of last generation. So this just really, I mean, I'm getting giddy talking about it right now. What they did is that all the problems and the glitches and the bugs, pretty much almost all of them, eliminated for Mass Effect 2. Refining the controls. This is where I think they kind of have like the Nintendo influence on it, because the controls are such an improvement from the first game to the second game. It's not even funny. Now, they had to cut out some stuff. The RPG mechanics aren't as good. There's some other things in there that aren't as fun, but what they really did was, like, the problems with the first game was got rid of them. The first game had a lot of issues, like with the just really blank open worlds, really nothing in them at all. And basically this game had a lot more varied environments, better side quests. There wasn't just random bunkers every single time. Better side quests, lush jungle environments, all sorts of good stuff, and it increased the player count, because in the first game I think you only had like 5 or 6, and then one of them dies, so you really end up with 5, or whatever. And in this game you could have, like, I think there's 10, and there's well over 10, or there's 10 or so. So really good, and the story and everything just combines each one of the characters and how they talk to you and how they react, and each one of their backstories, and what you can do really in this game is, to me, it has not been matched for a shooter RPG, hybrid mechanics. And like I said, the graphics just even got better in this game. Like, they subtracted some things, but they also made the graphics so much better, and I really love what they did with that. So Mass Effect 2 to me is the epitome, and adding like characters like the Elusive Man and Miranda and Thane, just so many different types, and so well voice acted. And like I said, the combat in the game is just phenomenal. But this game got me so hyped, and at the end, spoiler alert for those who haven't played the game yet, like the whole suicide mission, how you basically have to go in there, pick the right people for the job, what you're trying to do, and you're on the edge of your seat when you play this game. You're really on the edge of your seat. So Mass Effect, to me, Mass Effect 2 is the epitome of the franchise, and epitome, like I said, it's all things great in gaming is Mass Effect 2. So much content, so much stuff. There's DLC in there, but they already give you plenty of that in the regular game, and it wasn't day one DLC. The DLC that came for this game came well after the main story now, which is completely different with Mass Effect 3, which we're going to get into right now. So And I also let you guys know that I did also buy Mass Effect 2 on the PS3 because this actually includes, it came out a year later, but this actually includes 6 hours. It has the Kazumi Stolen Memories, Overlord, and Lair of the Shadow Broker. Lair of the Shadow Broker is one of the best pieces of DLC ever made. It might be the best piece of DLC. Fantastic DLC. So innovative. I don't think I've ever seen anything like it. So Lair, if you are looking to get into this franchise, this might be a good place to start. Mass Effect 2. Mass Effect 2 might be a good place to start because it has a Dark Horse comic in there. You can pick your events from Mass Effect 1, and then you can just start off right at the better game with all of that DLC. I think there's only one more DLC piece that you can get for this one, so this is a very good place to start if you have a PS3. Pick this one up. And now we're going to get into Mass Effect 3. Now, it's almost unfair to expect Mass Effect 3 to be, you know, to live up to Mass Effect 2, which, you know, I have Mass Effect 3 right here, and I have a crappy, stupid GameStop box that ripped. So I'm going to show you guys this one here. So this is the collector's edition that I got for Mass Effect 3. I'll show you guys it. So it comes like with this, it's FemShep, back shepherd there, and this game, the problems really start with EA. EA was already in, they already took over from Mass Effect 2, but it was at the very tail end of it. BioWare still was able to put the BioWareness into the game. By Mass Effect 3, EA had already taken over fully, and I think the game suffered. I think the game really suffered because they had to hurry up and get it out. And the problems with Mass Effect 3 kind of lie really in the ending. And more spoiler alerts for some people. I think EA rushed it. I think EA rushed it because the ending in the game does not, there's so much hype and build up as you're playing through the game. All of your choices, especially from guys like me who have played from the first game, carry over from Mass Effect 1 to Mass Effect 2, Mass Effect 2 to Mass Effect 3. And in 3, you're expecting a resolution that is fulfilling, and you're expecting the ending to be good, because in the first 2 games the endings were great, and in Mass Effect 2 I love the ending in Mass Effect 2. So Mass Effect 3, the end of the trilogy, the end of Shepard's story, for the way that it went down was just pathetic in my opinion. And I don't want to sit here and complain because I've complained about it before, but the problem, this is the problem when you have EA and they're trying to rush things out, and the game overall didn't feel like it was enough of a leap over the excellent Mass Effect 2. It doesn't really seem like there was really any leap at all. Now, they have some great mechanics in there. I'll have to give them that. They have they have way more guns, because if there was a problem with Mass Effect 2 is that the amount of guns was really skimpy, and they fixed that with DLC, but still at the same time, when I was playing through the game, I was like, man, I wish there was more guns in this game. So Mass Effect 3 fixed that. Not only did they fix that, but they also added attachments and different customizations to your weapons, so it really improved the gameplay. It really improved things, but it really just seemed like it stopped right there. And for some reason, it didn't feel as visceral as Mass Effect 2 did, as far as like when you shot people and the feel of the guns. Now, some of them did in Mass Effect 3, but not all of them. You get this new gun, you're like, oh wow, this seems pretty cool, and then you start shooting, it's like, it's not very good at all. And the inclusion of the multiplayer. Now, Mass Effect 3 has good multiplayer. I'm not gonna lie, it's okay. Like, I played it a lot. I was playing this one all the time, but I think it took away from the single player, and that's a travesty because Mass Effect is a single player game. It's a single player game, so I mean, I think it took away from that, and I would trade them, instead of working on that multiplayer, I would have traded that for a great like a more refined single player experience with more tooled and refined guns and a better ending the first time around, and not have to do it through DLC. So I think the multiplayer really hurt them, and I hope and pray for Mass Effect, 4, or the next Mass Effect that's coming out, which I'm going to buy day 1. I really hope that they focus on the single player, and if you're going to add online multiplayer, add a co-op mode in there, Add a co-op mode in there, or add some type of thing you can do, or just make the single player very good. Make the multiplayer an afterthought. I don't think that should be the main thing. I don't think it should really be in there at all, to be honest. I think Mass Effect is a single player game, and I think that they should really just focus on that, because Mass Effect 2 shows that single player it's great. There's nothing wrong with single player. This game has multiplayer, and this game's better. So I mean, and I actually played, it was probably about the same amount of time, but I played through this game 9 times, on multiple different difficulties with multiple different classes. So the thing about it is that I hope EA really learns from their experience with Mass Effect 3, because it was a disappointment. Not only that, but they actually had to refund people. You know, a lot of people had to get their refunds because they were so dissatisfied with the ending, and EA obliged and gave people refunds. So hopefully they focus on what they need to do in the franchise, because I love the Mass Effect franchise and I think that it deserves to, you know, just be around, and I think it's a great franchise that you can build and expand upon, and there's so much lore in all these games that it can just keep going till the end of time. So hopefully they realize what's important and what the real fans want in the next Mass Effect game, and I think that they'll deliver somewhat, especially after losing money. You know, they made money on Mass Effect 3, of course, but especially after having to give refunds and stuff like that, I think Mass Effect 4 is going to be beastly, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to seeing the first footage, and I'm looking forward to seeing the game. Hopefully we get to see some soon, because EA has already teased it a bit, so looking forward to that. And hopefully it just turns out good, because like I said, this is one of my favorite franchises. I think it deserves to have a great showing on the next generation of systems. So pretty cool. What do you guys think about the Mass Effect franchise? Have you tried it out? Will you guys try it out? And if you do, make sure you start with this one on the PS3. Very good. So yeah, let me know in the comment section below. And if you guys have any other franchises you want me to talk about, or some of your favorite franchises, maybe if I've played them, let me know, and I'll also see if I can talk about them too. Alright, so make sure you check out the description below. That'll take you over to playeressence.com. All the latest news on the Mass Effect franchise, like Mass Effect 4, can be found there. Alright, once again, this is Francis, and we will see you guys next time. Peace.